Jesus was necessary for Christ to be legal. Christ is the Spirit. That's God. Jesus was the body he lived in. That's his legal house. That's why Christ needed Jesus, so he could be legal on earth. Daniel 7 verse 13 says, "In my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was one like the Son of Man." Important statement. Jesus gave himself only two titles on earth: Son of God and Son of Man. Two different titles. One means the Christ part. The other one is the man part. Son of God, that's the Christ, and Son of Man, that's the flesh, Jesus Christ part. He says, Daniel says, "In my vision I saw one as the Son of Man." In other words, I saw God as a man coming with the clouds of heaven. I'm reading Daniel. "He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence." I saw one as the Son of Man. John 5 verse 22, I quote, "Moreover," Jesus speaking, "the Father judges no one, but has entrusted all judgment to the Son." The word judgment means to give rights. In other words, God in heaven doesn't execute any rights on earth, but he gave it to the Son. Why? John 5 verse 27. "For he has given the Son authority to judge, because he is the Son of Man." Because Jesus was a man, he had legal rights to execute God's will on earth. Then Jesus says, now I'm going to teach you how to do the same thing in the Lord's Prayer. Here's a verse that's found in the book of Mark, chapter 1, verse 35. I think you want to read this at home. Let me read this with you. It says in Mark, chapter 1, verse 35, "For verily, early in the morning, while it was still dark, rising up a great while before day, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed." I think it's important to note here that he got up early in the morning before anyone was up, and he went to a solitary place. Jesus always prayed alone, and it was the first activity of the day. I'm going to repeat that. It was the first activity of his day every morning. The disciples got used to this particular custom, that they would just go and watch him. Because in Luke 11 it says they watched him, and after he was praying, then they went and asked him, "Teach us how to do that." Because they saw him doing this. And he began to teach them how to pray. And that's where we are introduced to the seminar on prayer by Jesus, where he taught them the model prayer.
And that prayer we've heard said over and over. You probably repeated maybe as a child in school when it was said in school, or just on your own at home. It's a model prayer, but we really need to understand the depth of it, that's in there, that can help us in our entire prayer life.
See, that prayer has no effect if you don't understand your position of power. That prayer is really more about you than it is about God. Let me explain. Jesus said, look, when you pray, he didn't say pray that prayer. He says pray after this manner. In other words, use this concept when you pray. Number one, our Father. The word "our" means that you never come to God as if he's a private father. He belongs to the whole human race. You never come to God in selfish attitude. You bring the whole humanity with you. He is our Father. The word Father is the word Abba. It means source. In other words, the one who gives life and support to all of us. You come to him as dependent on him as your life, as your being, as your source. Our Father, who art in heaven. Now notice Jesus Christ located the Father for us. The Father is not on earth. Why? He's illegal. So he says when you pray, remember the Father is not here. He is in heaven. Heaven is the original country, the invisible world. He says the Father's not here. Why? He can't be here. But you could pray on earth even though he's there, because now he can use your body as his legal access.
I'm just hoping people who are watching now caught some of our earlier sessions, because they'll hear you say he's not legal, and they'll go, hold on here, something's real. You have to have heard the teachings earlier or get the book. But go on.
But you see, that's the key. The key is God the Father cannot come to earth legally because he set up a law in Genesis 1:26 where only humans in earth bodies can be here legally.
And that is authority, yes.
That's why Jesus Christ said, all judgment was given to me, the Son, because I am the Son of Man. Because I became a man, the Father gave me rights to act on earth. And so he says, when you pray the same way. Our Father who is not on earth, he's in heaven, he's illegal. Holy is his name. Holy means that he is to be reverenced. He is to be set apart and worshipped. That's your period of time where you just glorify him for who he is. Then it says, thy kingdom come. He says, you must ask God and give him permission for his authority and rulership to come to earth. Now, here's the question. Why does Jesus say you have to ask God for his kingdom to come? Isn't God sovereign? He can just bring his kingdom if he wants to. But see, what's the problem, God? Are you weak or afraid of us or something? Bring your kingdom. God said, no. I cannot bring it without your permission. So you have to literally give me permission for my governing authority to come and impact your home, your family, your community, your governments, your education system, your media system, your entertainment system, your education system. You have to ask me to interfere. Thy kingdom come. And he didn't say thy religion come. He said, don't pray for Christianity to come to earth. That's wrong. Pray for my kingdom to come, my government authority, my influence in all areas of life. Pray for that to come. And then he says, thy will be done. God has a will. Will means his intent. Your will is normally in your mind. He says, for God's mind to be done on earth, you have to give him permission. His will just can't be done. Have you ever heard this? What will be, will be. That's not true. Whatever you will be. Not what will be, but what you will be. So God says, look, will to do my will. Give me permission to fulfill my will on earth, and I will have access through you to do it. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. On earth as it is in heaven. God said, look, my kingdom is in heaven, my will is in heaven, because that's where I rule, and I don't need a body up here. He said, but for me to do the same thing on earth, I need you to give me license to do it. So I can have heaven come on earth through your authority, through your permission. That's why nothing happens in Canada without you intricately involved, engaged with God, telling God, let your government influence come to our city, our community, our homes, our youth, our children, our politics, our investment, our business life. We have to literally give him that permission. Prayer is powerful if you understand your power. Not just God's power, but your power. Because God always got power, but you need to know that you got power with God, just like Abraham did. He says, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Then he says, give us today our daily bread. You're not asking for food, This is a Hebrew idiom. The word bread means everything necessary for life. You don't pray for a loaf of bread. That's stupid. She's talking about an idiom. The Hebrew word for everything necessary is the word bread. That means we pray for God to give us everything to sustain us. After all, he promised to be our life. In him we live and move and have our being. So you can constantly give him permission to keep on providing everything we need. Thy daily bread. And then it says, forgive us our trespasses. I wish I had time to talk about trespassing. Trespassing doesn't mean necessarily sin. If you came on my property, what you call that? Trespassing. Trespass means you violated your right to be on someone else's life. In other words, if you try to be someone which you were not born to be, you are trespassing. A lot of people are actually trespassing because they're trying to be something they are not. He said, ask God to forgive you for pretending to be someone you are not. Trespassing, not just sin. Sin is different. Sin, this is worse than sin. This is you pretending to be something you are not, trying to be something you're not called to be. You trespass on other people's property. And then he says, forgive those who try to be us. Those who try to pretend to be us. Forgive us for imitation lives. Not being honest of who we are. Exercising our vision, our strength, our purpose. Not fulfilling our assignment on earth. Forgive us for not fulfilling what we were born to do. And then he says, our trespass, as we forgive those who do the same for us. And then he says, lead us not into temptation. That means keep us away from the one who tempts us. Deliver us from the evil one. In other words, we got to literally invite God to protect us from evil influence. It doesn't just happen. That's why you can't just say, well, no evil will touch me. Oh, yes, it will. You better invite God's protection. Because then he will come. He'll deliver you, it says. And then it says here, for thine is the power. So you begin to worship him.